Hello, 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 my mate Vince here, and welcome to day 7 of the Amazon Advent Repair Challenge. If you're not sick of me by now, you will be by day 24. So I've bought a huge Amazon pallet of returns, faulty customer returns. Let's get straight into this video on day 7 and see if we can fix anything.
Dehumidifier.
We have this Monhouse dehumidifier, and again, current model, I can see it on their website for £54.99. You can get cheaper ones, but they're smaller. This one's 1500 milliliter here. So I've plugged it in, and when I turn it on at the back, nothing happens up here. I can't see any on light, so it looks like it's completely dead, and we're plugged in. So let's bring it over to the mat. Just realised that that's a smiley face. It's like a Vincey smiley face. Let's bring it over to the mat and see if we can work out why it's completely dead. Right now I should be taking the fuse out to begin with, but let me just try this, see if it's going to be quicker. Because if the fuse was blown, we shouldn't have anything across here. Let me just see if when I turn it on we get something. No? Okay. Fuse is alright. Just want to see what fuse it is. 3 amp. Sounds about right. Okay, so the lead itself should be alright. I wonder, could it be a switch problem? How new does this thing look? Because it wasn't in its box. Not even sure. Do you know, I don't even think you take that off there. I think it's just got a float here to cut it off, and then you empty that there. I mean, I can't see a load of scale in here. I can see what looks like bits of polystyrene maybe, but maybe they are bits of scale. I don't think it's had much use, if any. Right, so let's not worry about the float side of things. You can see the little micro switch here, and when this gets full up with water, this is going to lift up because there's a little float just here, and then it's going to hit the micro switch, which should turn this off. Otherwise, it could start overflowing everywhere. Let's take it apart and see if we can work out what's going on. Maybe we can test the switch. Aha. So, what is this up here? Oh, they're for the lights. Well, I suppose, let me undo those two there, just so I'm not going to damage anything. I think there's 2 Peltiers underneath here. The problem with the Peltiers is they're very inefficient, but they are amazing. Like the technology there, it's to me, it's just it's great. I would have loved to have discovered them as a kid when my mind was more curious. Like maybe putting them loads of them together to get heat, and then you know, put them on your parents' radiator and then try to get some voltage to do something. But they're not efficient. Okay, so we have a circuit board at the back here. I think we're going to have to do that. Well, I'll tell you what we'll do first of all. Shall we test the switch? Because it could be a switch problem. Right, here is the switch, and this is the power coming in. So, let's see now. Have we got anything between here and here? Yes. Now let's turn it off. No. So it's not the switch, because we had continuity there when it was on. So it looks like it's going to be a mains. It's a mains fed board in here, so it's probably something to do with the mains. Probably something to do with the board. Let's undo these, and hopefully that will take this off. There's definitely lots of dust around the place. Unless that is scale from water, so maybe this was working for a short amount of time. Are you going to come off? Yes, you are. Right, we have a massive fan. Okay, so I'm almost certain that they're the Peltier plates here and here. Look them up, Peltier, I think they are Peltier plates. They're amazing. I've got a feeling that they're going to be okay, because we haven't even got, you know, to me the fan's not even spinning. Bit concerned where all the dust has come from. Have a look at that. Does that look a bit crooked on the negative, on this one here? So what we'll do is put to continuity, and we'll go to the grey one here, and we go up to, let me get my glasses on, hold on. Ta-da! Right, here, and let's go to here. And you can hear we have that. Let's see if we have this one on the black. Oh, we do. So it's not that. Yeah, that is plugged in okay. Right, so can we see any burnt components? So we have power coming in. It's going to go through the fuse. We'll have to test the fuse. We've got these 4 diodes, which is going to be a bridge rectifier. And then we have 2 massive... Well, I thought that filter cap should be after this one here. Unless it's wired that way, I need to see the back. But it looks like we've got 2 filter caps. Then it goes into this switching transistor here. It looks like this capacitor, which looks a little bit weird there. No, it's not, sorry, that's just the design on it. This is going to provide power to this until this starts itself up. And this is switching this. That could be faulty because that's a highly stressed component. We have got some safety capacitors there. And then this is going to be a rectifier diode because this is going to be AC and we need to get this back to DC. These are going to be the filter caps and then they come out here. Why we've got so much? So we have... Why have we got so many connectors here? So we've got one that goes down to here which must cut the power. So maybe this here might actually be faulty. Maybe it's always on or something. So that looks like it goes round to here. Also, where's the on and... Oh, sorry, this is important because this is the on and off switch from here. So yeah, that micro switch there might well... That might well not... That might be the problem. Maybe that's not switching. Because look, can you see from the switch, it goes up. So let's put the switch on. So we're going to have continuity here. So where does it go? It goes to here. So does this go all the way? So this is linked to here. But where does this one go to? So that goes to there as well because it's through the switch. So it must come up on the red when this is in here. So we should have it between the red and the black, I think, when this goes in. Which we don't. Or is it the yellow and the black? No, sorry, is it the red and the yellow? Oh, I think we've got a faulty little switch here. And can you see, this is designed to, it's the same as turning it off here. Let's take the board off and maybe we can have a look. I think this here, I don't think it's working because what's the red doing? So in a way it thinks that it thinks it's full of water, I think. So let's flip that over. So we have the red one that doesn't seem to be doing anything is this one here, which does go round. Red to here on these links to here to feed this. So that is like the main, I presume that's the main one going up to the fan. So I think that's the reason this isn't working. Let's undo this. Now I've got to be careful because we've got the big caps here, but I am on the low voltage side at the moment. We're out. I should really measure those caps in case I get a surprise shock. 6.7 volts. So that was 6.7 volts there. So you can see then that if there's voltage here, the bridge rectifier and the fuse and everything must be okay. So I don't even need to measure the fuse because you can see that we've got 6.6 volts here. We wouldn't have that if the fuse was dead. Right, let's try to work out what is going on here. So surely we should have contact between 2 of them and a different 2 when it's in the other position. And we haven't got that. So yellow and black, nothing. Yellow and red, nothing. Black and red, nothing. Now let's press it. Black and red, nothing. But we have yellow and black. So it's not passing it through from the black to the red, I presume. So we're going to have to take this little thing apart and see if we can fix it, because I haven't got any of them. Look at that, how easy does that come apart? Right, I think we should... Can we open this without undoing? Yeah, let's zoom in. I'm going to see if I can open it. I presume it's just going to be a dirty contact or a misaligned contact in here. Nah, it's not going to come apart. Don't quite know where it's sealed. Is it this little thing here? Oh, I think it's been riveted here. That's annoying. I'm not going to be able to... I don't think I'm going to be able to break that to put it back in again. Let's can I push it through a bit more? No. Yeah, that's been like splayed once it's gone in. It's going to be a pin that's been opened up. Maybe I can, if I can open it up, I might be able to just put a big blob of solder on. The solder might hold it in. Right, you can see I've broken the head off. So we should be able to push that through, but it still doesn't... Oh, here we go. There it is. It's coming now. So it's just like a pin, isn't it? I might be able to splay that out again a bit. Now are you going to open up? Yes. Okay. That's just come out. Oh. Oh yeah, sorry, it's this switch I was going to say, is that broken? That's just a switch. Now, why are you not working? So it should be red and black, shouldn't it? Because when it's in this position, can you see the black wire goes up here? And it's attached to this, which is attached to this part, which is touching the red. So it's working, this bottom one's working. I think we must have dirty contacts because it's clearly touching it. Let's get continuity on the go. It's a little bit tricky to film. I'm going to get a bit of blue tack and stick it here, because I'm limited by the wires. There we go, that's nice. Maybe that's cleaned it up. There might have been a slight bit of dust or dirt in there, a bit of broken plastic. No. So here and here. Yes. But no. So are we going to here? Yes. So clearly there's just a bit of dirt, because listen, you can see that's clicking and it's fine here. There must be dirt on that top bit, or it must have arced. Interesting. So I'm going to try to take out this bit first of all. And let's have a close look here. And that to me, well, you can see a tiny, tiny black dot. I wonder, is that it? Can you see that tiny, tiny little dot just here? Do you think that's caused it to stop working? Wow. You'd think it would have been more flat rather than just a tiny corner on it. I think that's slightly burnt. I think through my tweezers I can feel it go in a little bit. So I've got to be careful. I've got to keep that smooth. Otherwise, if it's rough, it's going to start arcing against this bit. Let's see if we can see anything on this bit. There. Can you see at the very tip again? There's a bit of black. So I'm going to look here, just at this very, very, very corner bit, and then I'll shine the torch in to show you. Just look here where this bit here. That's what's happened. See, it's black there. So I'm going to have to try to clean that and clean the top bit, and then it should work again. I wonder, does it need to be a bit more flat? I'm wary about doing that because it's going to lose the spring, but I'm wondering whether this needs to be bent a little bit more Well, it's nice on there. Does it need to be bent a little bit more like that? Like that. Do you know what I mean? Then it's gonna go more on it. In fact, let's just see now if I was to pop that in, whether it's gonna work now without cleaning it. Right, so we're back in. Yeah, can you see now it's nice and flat against it? Let's see if we've got continuity now. So between here, no, we still haven't. No, so it must be that corner bit. See, we have. Wow, look at that, there's just nothing there, even when I put pressure on. Interesting. Okay, we're going to have to clean it. It will be a bit more rough, so it's not going to work as well as when it was brand new, but what can I do? Ideally, it needs a complete new switch. Now, to begin with, I've just ripped off a little bit of this paper here, and I'm going to just put some IPA on it. But I think the problem isn't so much this tiny little bit of black here. I think it's that big lump of black. I think there's a big lump of carbon from where it's been arcing, and I believe that's the problem. If I got the grinding pen and just went over it for a second on each side, then I'm sure it's going to work fine. But there's going to be more arcing because it's not smooth. So I'm just going to use some isopropyl alcohol. And let's put a little bit on here. And then just rub this on here. Let's get a bit more. Because the paper will be ever so slightly rough. If I had some wet and dry, I'd probably use it on the other side, but the wet and dry is in my dad's shed from the Rolls Royce. Still got loads of stuff there related to the car. I don't think the problem's there. Right, so I've got to try to clean this bit here. Dunk that in there. And let's rub. See if we can get any black off. No. No, it's still there. It's like a lump of glue in a way. Right, I'm going to have to use my my tweezers on that, unfortunately. I might even have to resort to the grinding pen. Well, what I'm hoping is, now that I've bent it, I'm hoping the contact might be in a slightly different place. And I've got rid of the lump that was sticking up. So I think we'll try that now. Right, it's definitely sitting differently now, isn't it? Look, it's completely flat against that top bit. Meter and continuity? Please. What? You're still not there. That's crazy. You're still not there. No way. Right, desperate times calls for desperate measures. I'm going to have to put the grinding pen on that very corner bit. It must be still just sticking up ever so slightly proud. Do you know what? I'm going to look at it under the microscope if I can. So now, am I going to be able to see what's going on in here? Oh, hold on. Has it been? Oh yeah, look at that now. It's amazing what you can see through the microscope. Can you see half of it is, it's ruined here as well. Can you see this bit? This bit here is gone. Right, I'm going to have to make a quick pass on that, I think, with the grinder. Still looks different there, doesn't it? There you go, that's definitely back to copper now. But this has some sort of coating on it, doesn't it, to make it nice and hard. Because otherwise it will just, I think this is just going to arc now quite a lot. What I've got is I've got loads of dehumidifiers in this job lot. I think I have anyway, of different sizes. So these switches will be in other ones, and there might be other ones where maybe the fan's gone. So I might be able to take the switch out from one of them at a later stage. As long as we prove the fault onto the switch, then essentially it's fixed, because you would be able to buy one of these. But I think I'm going to have other ones. Right, okay, you can see it's much cleaner now. So let's go back to the normal camera. Surely now that has to work. Come on. Hallelujah. Then it stops. And we're on the black and yellow. Does that. Okay, so we found the fault. I know that's not the best fix. I am going to put a tiny little bit of deoxit in that to give it a little bit of protection. Actually, you know what? I don't know if you can use this, because there's high voltage in here, isn't it? Cables, telephone, faxes, cables. Most of these here are low voltage, aren't they? But it does say light bulbs. Emergency lights. Oh, switches, plugs and sockets. I presume then it must be okay. Let's put a tiny bit in here and hopefully it will help. I'm only doing it on the top one because the bottom one's working all right. Now I've got to try to do something with this pin. So I do try to splay the pin out again, but there's not enough meat left on it. So then I tried to get the soldering iron and I tried to put a blob of solder on the end, hoping it might wick down into it a bit. But the solder just doesn't want to stick to it whatsoever. I don't know what materials it's made out of, but I don't think it could be soldered. So what I resort to doing is I leave the pin in there and I try my best to splay it, but it doesn't really work. So I just burn the edge of the switch all the way around. It doesn't really matter because it's held in by the casing. There's white plastic casing that clips on each side when it goes into the dehumidifier. So I don't think in normal operation this switch would fall apart. It would only be if you took it apart again, it would have more chance of splitting in two. But anyway, I burned the edges together on all sides. Well, not the top side, but on the sides and the bottom. And then it's, I think it's going to work all right. There you go. I think that'll do. Because it's going to be crushed. From memory, it's crushed in here anyway. Yeah, that's going to be holding it down in here. So I don't think it's got an option to go anywhere. Do you know what I mean? It's trapped, isn't it? It's trapped in there. Right, so we should have a connection now between the black and the red. So black and red. Hallelujah. And then when we press this in, that stops. And then we should have a connection between the black and the yellow when we press it in. There we go. And black and red. Happy days. Right, let's get this back together. Last time I used one of these, it didn't really grab any moisture out of my house, but I'll leave it on for an hour or something, and we'll see if anything comes through. Well, looky here, I actually forgot about it because it's in another room. I still love that smiley face, and it was on for about 3 or 4 hours, and I can see it has gathered up some water. So let's turn it off, and I'll show you that. Look, there. Not a huge amount, but maybe this room's quite dry anyway. So 100% it sucked water out of the air, which is a lot more than the one I did before. That just seemed to, and you can see drips here. The other one I just had a few drips here. This has actually actively collected water. So it looks like in this instance here, the 2 Peltiers are doing their job. I really enjoyed that little fix there, and I hope you did too.
Bug Zapper.
Next up we have this mosquito killer. There's quite a few of these in various shapes and sizes in this palette of returns, so it'd be quite useful to get my head around how they work. I've never owned one, and I don't know if I've ever seen one in operation. I certainly do not know how they work. So let's open it up, plug it in, and see what it's doing. Maybe these are all going to have broken tubes, possibly. I'm not sure. Well, as far as I can see, the lamps are not broken. They actually give you a spare lamp in here, and everything looks brand new. There's a couple of clips which are not connected. They just need to go here and also here. That's like a safety guard. Now, it says in the instructions that it produces 1800 volts, which is slightly worrying. Let me just read this bit. It says, according to the biological characteristics of mosquitoes, a 365 nanometer mosquito trap lamp is used to emit benign ultraviolet light, which can induce mosquitoes and fly to fly into the power grid and kill the high voltage power grid. I presume it means get killed on the high voltage power grid, which must be between the lights and that I presume it must be between the lights and that metal thing. Oh no, maybe not. Sorry. The lights are just trying to light to get them to come in. And the 1800 volts must be on that grid in there. That looks quite scary. A little bit apprehensive. But I say a little, I mean a lot. Let's turn it on and see what happens. We have a little carry handle here. Hopefully it's not going to go bang. I'm hoping it just does nothing. Right. Okay, gently turn it on from the top here. You can tell I'm scared. Well, there's no light coming on, so there might or might not be 1800 volts in there at the moment, but there's definitely no light coming on. I think it's going to be something straightforward. I think it's either going to be a faulty switch or something disconnected in the top here. So in this palette there's loads and loads and loads of bug zappers, and this was the first one I worked on, so I was a bit unsure about many things. Hence the reason I'm just going to fast forward through the whole thing. The fix was not interesting. The mains from the plug, the mains cable, goes into the bug zapper. One of the wires goes to the switch, and that's how you turn it on and off. And then a wire from the switch goes to the circuit board, and the other wire straight from the plug on the mains cable goes to the other connection. These connections are little push-fit connections, meaning that you just put the bare wire in and then they clamp on, a bit like a Wago push-fit connector. So it's they're really easy to use. There's no screws to undo or do up. You just push them in and they make the connection. I'm wondering whether one might have been pushing a little bit too much and it was on the insulation rather than the wire. Or maybe there was some other bit of dirt or something. Or maybe they just weren't pushed in properly. Long story short is I disconnected them and then I checked all around the board, couldn't find anything, pushed the wires back in and everything's working fine. So I'm nearly certain it was a fault on the connector, but I don't know what that fault was. To me it looks perfect, but for whatever reason I think they were pushed in at the factory and they just didn't make a good connection. And then by unplugging them and plugging them in again, it worked. So there's no point in taking you through my whole learning on this one here because we have so many other bug zappers that will have interesting faults on them. So I'm just skipping through this one here because the fault was the connection where the mains cable meets the board. But I can't be certain what actually caused it because everything's brand new and everything looks perfect. So I'm going to say that the wire was either pushed in too much and it was touching the insulation off the wire rather than the copper off the wire. Or there might have been some other thing where when they pushed it down, it didn't click back up, and it was just kind of, the wire was just kind of loose in there, not making a good contact against the sides. And then by me fiddling with it, enabled the spring again to spring back up and actually clamp onto the wire. Anyway, it's working now. Let me cut to the end of the video just to show you the actual bug zapper working. Let's plug it in and turn it on here, and if I turn it on here, you can see now they're both glowing, so hopefully that will attract the mozzies. And here we go, ready for the bang. Still wary about doing this. Here comes a mozzie. Whoa, it still gets me. How, isn't it weird? I know it's going to happen, but it still makes me jump. Isn't that strange? I wonder how often you'd have to do that before that feeling would disappear. One more time for the camera. There we go. Let's go right in close. I actually kept calm there. There we go. Right, well, you can clearly see it's working.
Summary.
Right, on day 7 there, the dehumidifier is £55 new, but this one has been used and there's no box. But I think I would be definitely happy setting it on, so I'm going to call that £20. And when it comes to the bug zapper, that is new in boxed, so £26, 50% of that, £13. So £33 for day 7. Let's see what day 8 brings. Hopefully see you again then.